Master of Ceremony of Indus Valley International Film Festival Season 2, organized by SAFACH, which is South Asian Forum for Art and Creative Heritage. In the next few days, you're going to experience creative ecstasy from all over South Asia. The festival includes film screenings, workshops and masterclasses, interaction with celebrities, music concerts, and an award ceremony. The most unique aspect of this festival is being South Asia's first borderless digital film festival. Festival begins with opening film Padman, premiere screenings of Rajat Kapoor's Kadak and Himanshu Malik's film Chitrakoot, River of Love by Akash Khurana, and first public showcase of documentary film on the mystic Neem Kairoli Baba, Windfall of Grace. There is also an impressive lineup of films from other South Asian countries. The Birthland and a woman superhero film, Bizli, from Bangladesh, starring eminent actress and producer of Bangladesh, Bobby. Anagat from Nepal, Pangshu and Suparna from Sri Lanka. Ho Man Jaha, the critically acclaimed film from Pakistan, directed by Asim Raza, starring Mahira Khan, among the many other interesting films. There will also be workshops and masterclasses on fiction filmmaking, documentary filmmaking, script writing, and acting. Online live music concerts, panel discussions, and numerous other interesting sessions. We thank our supporters, gifting partner, Chayology, PR partner, 1H Media, digital media partner, Noxens and Startup News, community partner, Network Capital. Today, we are proud to have eminent filmmaker Sri R. Balki as our guest. R. Balakrishnan, popularly known as R. Balki, is an Indian filmmaker, screenwriter, and former group chairman of the advertising agency Lowlintas. He started his career with Mudra at the age of 23. His passion has always been filmmaking. After college, he even applied to the Chennai Film Institute to do a course in direction. He was selected by Mudra Communications for the first creative training program by the agency. Balki was soon addicted to advertising. His ideas have included Daag Achhe Hain for Surf Excel, Jagore ads for Tata Tea. What an idea, Sarji. Idea Cellular Advertising. Havelis, Tanishq, ICICI Prudential, St. Gobain Class, Hamara Bajaj, Britannia, Pepsodent, and many more. Balki has written and directed the much enjoyed Chini Kam, which starred Amitabh Bachchan and Tabu. His second feature film was the critically acclaimed and commercially successful Pa, starring again Amitabh Bachchan, his son Abhishek, and Vidya Balan. Shamitabh was his third Bollywood venture. He then wrote and directed Ki and Ka. His next is Padman, based on the life of Arunachalam Muruganantham, which he co-produced, wrote, and directed. Balki also co-produced and wrote Mission Mangal, where he played the role of creative director. Today's sessions will be moderated by Harsh Narayan. Harsh is an alumnus of IIM Calcutta, MICA Ahmedabad, and NIFT Delhi. Having produced and directed numerous documentary films, animation films, and digital films, Harsh is also the founder of Indus Valley International Film Festival. So, we invite Mr. R. Balki to please deliver your inaugural remark. Thank you.
Hi, it's indeed an honor and a pleasure to kind of welcome you all to the Indus Valley Film Festival. I'm sure we're going to be seeing some really wonderful films from all across South Asia. And I think it's a great time to have a film festival because it's films and, the moving medium, the motion picture medium that's kind of actually kept us going through these months. So really to kind of see more of them, things we haven't seen before, which are not on platform, which is a great thing to kind of see again. So I'm really looking forward to this week of some wonderful films from our region. And thanks a lot to Hush for kind of putting all this together. I think it's not an easy task to put a festival like this and collate films like this at this point of time. But a great job, Hush. Thank you very, very much. I'm really looking forward to seeing the films. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for your appreciation. Uh, we thought today is Gandhiji's birthday, our father of our nation, and we thought he always stood for weaker section and downtrodden, and his heart was filled with empathy for downtrodden. Trodden. So we thought Padman is the best film to give tribute to Gandhiji on his birthday. Because it also talks about, the film talks about empowering the weaker in the society who have been neglected, the issue which has been neglected for past thousands of years. So, sir, what is your take on this, on the idea of the film connecting with Gandhiji's ideology?
Yes, I think more than the film, I think Arunachalam Muruganandam connects with Gandhiji's ideology. The real Padman, who has done this revolution. For me, the film Padman is actually a tribute to a remarkable man, and also, in a strange way, a very exciting journey because it's possibly the first mainstream film to feature a sanitary napkin as the main subject. I mean, that to me itself is very exciting. And today, actually, thanks the film. In fact, I would. It's indeed a privilege and honor for it to be on Gandhiji's birthday. But I think what is really also pleasing is the fact that the film has led to a lot of social change. Besides the normal box office figures and success rates, what it has done to transform actually either policies, awareness, this taboo factor, what it's done to transform all these kind of things is indeed a miracle. So the film has actually had a lot more impact than just money or figures. It has had a lot more social relevance than most things that have been feature films. So that way, I think it really makes me proud that I could bring Arunachalam Muruganathan vision to screen, thanks with Akshay and Twinkle's help.
And it is heartening to see it getting commercial success as well. It is being accepted, the film being accepted by people, masses. So this kind of subject is not a taboo anymore in our society, and people are developing empathy for such theme.
Yeah, what is wonderful is actually the number of policies that have been created. In fact, I remember the moment the film came out, a month down the road, the railway ministry actually kind of gave land next to many, many, many railway stations for villagers or for people in that particular locality to set up sanitary pad factories. So it actually was a combination of both awareness of menstrual hygiene as well as entrepreneurship. It's a great combination. It's self-employment plus menstrual hygiene. I don't think you can get a formula like this, which Arunachalam Muruganathan was cracked. So I think thanks to Akshay, the film got a lot of eyeballs. A lot of people felt comfortable when you say pad man itself. You're saying pad. So therefore, a lot of people are far more comfortable kind of using the word pad, asking for pads, buying pads for the women in their family. So that I think is a great change, and that is something I'm really, really proud of.
How did you convince Akshay Kumar for this role? Was it difficult, or he took time to think about it?
No, actually, I didn't convince Akshay Kumar to the role. It's an obvious kind of a choice because he and Twinkle said, "Would you like to make a film on Arunachalam Muruganathan's life?" I had never made a biopic in my life, and I never thought I would. But when I met Arunachalam Muruganathan and I decided to write the film, to me, two things: one was the incredible nature of his life, and the really creative man that he was. Second, most important, where would I get to do a film on a sanitary napkin with a superstar like that? It's a dream thing. So it was actually the other way. So Akshay said, "No, you're sure you want me to play the role?" I said, "Of course I'd want you to play the role," because in my head, actually Akshay Kumar is a lot like Arunachalam Muruganathan. There's a lot of big things he says in a very, very casual way, in a very simple way. So this thing of the casualness of achievement is something which I really found common between the behavior of the two.
Sir, there was a young boy in Chennai with twinkle in his eyes, and he wanted to. He had passion for filmmaking, but he didn't had any godfather. How did that boy reach this stardom of filmmaking from Chennai to Budra to Bombay?
Like I wasn't in Chennai. I come to Chennai for the film institute, but I'm from Bangalore. I was born
Oh,
in Bangalore
sorry.
all my life. But the thing was, actually, thank God for advertising. You know, I got addicted to advertising, and advertising was what I still am in love with, and I've always been in love with, because it's a thing that told me tell stories with a purpose. The purpose there was always about somebody's brand or somebody's thing, and here the purpose is something very different. Purpose is your heart, your conscience, your thought, actually. So I think advertising taught me a lot about communication, about a lot of filmmaking. I mean, when you watch or are a part of about nearly 2,000, 3,000 ad films, I don't think there is a lot that you don't know about filmmaking by the end of it. Of course, this thing is, there's a lot to discover every day. But the basics you do get to know in your so many years of advertising. But most important thing is the communication is actually, the writing part of it is something that advertising really taught me very, very well.
Sir, your every story of yours is unique, very uniquely woven, and they are loved and appreciated. Somewhere it connects nicely with viewers. So, most of your films are either on social issues or on very sensitive topics such as relationships. Do you think you choose your stories or the stories choose you?
No, I think I'm just been lucky that things have been dropping in my head on these rare occasions. But I always choose a film with a simple thing. Is this idea worth spending the next 2 years of my life on? Because in advertising, what you tend to do all your life is actually search for a big idea, search for a big idea. So that has actually become a discipline for me in life also. Is the idea big enough? So it's not just relationships or social issues. They are all part of the milieu and part of the environment. But for me, the idea is the most important thing. So I didn't, like, say, make a par with a social issue of progeria in mind. I just did it with a big idea of making Amitabh Bachchan the son of Abhishek Bachchan. And I found progeria on the way. So I don't make film on social issues, because any film you make today, you're part of society which has got a lot of issues. So it tends to look like you're making film on social issues. My job is to entertain. My job is to tell stories. My job is to kind of paint a world that you wish existed and not that really exists. I don't mean fantasy worlds. I mean even in small little things of a relationship or a behavior or an emotion that you wished could be like this, and not what it is really. Because I believe films give you hope.
Mhm. Sir, your film, as you mentioned, Amitabh Bachchan, your film Pa received many awards, and especially at the National Film Awards, it received Mr. Bachchan received Best Actor, the award for Best Actor, I think, in the National Awards.
Yeah.
So, how did you approach Mr. Bachchan for this role, and how was your experience working with him second time? Because you worked with him for the first time in Chili Come as well.
I just told Amitji about this boy with progeria, and I didn't approach him. I just told him about it casually, and he jumped to the idea. He was very excited. The story is how we both approached Abhishek, and that was the story actually. How because Abhishek was very reluctant at one point of time to kind of play his father's father. So therefore, it took a lot of maneuvering both from Amitji's part and my part to kind of get Abhishek on board. So that was what the maneuvering was, and I think it's a treat to work with Amitabh Bachchan. I don't think there's any filmmaker in this country who does not want to work with him. It's my privilege and luck to have worked with him for my very first film, and I hope to continue writing things that do justice to him. Because now it's kind of become like when we both kind of discuss an idea. He says, "No, we need to do something else," or I feel, "No, let's not do this kind of thing. Let's do something." We keep, pushing the boundary, because I think we need to do something that we at least find very different in working with each other. So therefore, the challenge is beautiful, and I hope I continue finding ideas for him.
Sir, in your film Key and Ka, Kia was a highly ambitious woman who worked hard to be at the top of her career, whereas her husband Kabir always wanted to be a house husband, taking care of the house as well as cooking food for the family. The film was quite interesting, but in real life, do you think at that time when you made film, such couple existed, such men existed?
I really don't worry about whether people existed or not. I wish they existed. Like I told you, I just like making films. Somewhere I wish it was like this rather than are they like this or they're not. Even Muruganandam's film, it almost seemed like too good for me. It's like I wish it happened like this. I wish a person loved his wife so much to kind of be go through so much for that person despite the person leaving him, despite that person. I mean, you can accuse that wife of many other things, but he was so much in love with the person. So I really found that quite beautiful. So I think films are all about not whether there are people like that or whether society is like that or the situations like that. It's about why can't it be like that?
Yeah. Sir, our jury member Supriti is with us here. She wants to say something, ask you something.
Sure, of course.
So, Balki ji, I'm like eternally grateful to Arunachalam, Twinkle, Akshay, you for making menstruation a living room conversation, which it was never. It was such a hush hush thing. So I really see this one string which is running through a lot of your work, which is the concept of awakening people. And when I look at the Tata tea ad that you did, Jagore, I mean, we've seen 1,000 tea advertisements which are about feeling fresh when you wake up, jumping out of bed and feeling like a bucket of cold water fell over you, feeling fresh. But you brought this new twist to the whole thing of being awakened from inside, the soul reaching out to, a new level of consciousness and fighting for something. I see the same kind of thing in Padman. Of course, it's Arunachalam's work, but the way you wrote it and the way you projected it, I also see that, even in Ki and Ka, like you said. So I see you as a change maker. And this brings me to the big debate we have always had in cinema about whether film should reflect reality or alter reality. What do you want to say about that?
No, I think each person has his own belief about what film should be, and it all depends on where you come from. I'm actually bored of life, so therefore I like life to be a little more interesting than what it is in real life. So therefore, I'd like to make a few things interesting. People may call it not non-realistic. People may call it kind of a fantasy picture or too much of like somebody called Padman. It's too nice of him. It's too nice. Everybody's too nice. I mean, I like it to be like that. I mean, there's no harm in everybody being too nice. We desperately need that a bit. And I feel that each film has a different take. Like I don't know whether you can have a relationship between, let's say, in Part 2 or a Chini Kam. I know the number of people who said in Chini Kam it's given them hope or whatever. It was never my intention to kind of change anything or do anything. It was my thing to just say, why can't it be like that? It is not about affecting change. It is about my thought of saying how boring it is to see what's happening around. Can I at least see on film something which I don't see in life? So that is my thing. And it's not that everything has to be fantastical. There's a lot of reality that you will show in every film, but reality with a little upper, a little kick. A little bit of high, a little bit of twist. And that's what I like, actually. It's my personal desire. It's got nothing how a film should be or not be. I enjoy watching all kinds of films.
Then the reality we are all grappling with right now, the coronavirus, the pandemic situation, which has been quite horrible and disastrous. I'm sure that there are many filmmakers already thinking of stories based on real life incidents they would have read about in the newspapers or watched on news. Tell us first about how did you cope with this?
I find it's very strange because when the whole world is united by one thing, it's like air. It's like it's almost like your mobile phone. Actually, it's like the internet. When you kind of are united by one thing, it is not so bad because all of us are going through the same thing. It's not
Yeah.
as if one area is affected or another area is affected. The whole world is going through something. It's a very rare phenomenon. It's something that I think I'm in awe of. I said, how did we all? It took a virus to unite us all. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like it's a strange kind of, and still we're fighting. Despite the virus, despite those lessons, we're still fighting on the most silly things in the world. So I don't want to watch films on Corona. I mean, they may be very interesting films being made, and I will watch them. But it's not that I'm really desperately, eagerly looking forward to films that are made about life in these kind of times, because I think all of us have seen every bit of it, read so much about it, watched so much about it, lived through it. I don't want to see it again on film. It's
Yeah,
one of
but there's
those
some
things that
great cinema, right? Ingmar Bergman's
maybe,
The Seventh
maybe,
Seal, which was
maybe
also
after
on a
5 years.
pandemic. Yeah,
Maybe after 5 years,
yeah,
maybe not during the pandemic. Maybe it just you live it through, and then you kind of, oh shit, this is what happened. Would be a great kind of a thing.
yeah. So tell us something about yourself. So when this hit, all of a sudden we were not going out to work, and did you find more time on hand, or did you find yourself more busy doing other chores? Tell us something about how you coped with this in the beginning.
Yeah, we were both very busy actually. We had just shifted house, so we had to do everything on our own. There was no help at all. Yeah, we cooked a lot, we cleaned a lot, we set up things a lot. We did all that for the first 2-3 months. We were doing all that. And we watched a lot. We read a lot. We watched actually the number of films we've caught up on. We both did a Bimal Roy festival. I had never seen Bimal Roy films, and the kind of films that I've seen, from Do Biga Zameen to
Yeah.
Madhumati to Devdas and things, it's just mind blowing. I don't know.
Yes.
And I discovered two people, three directors actually. One I had seen before, Bimal Roy I had not, and Dilip Kumar, the actor, I discovered. I was not a huge fan of Dilip Kumar, and I became his biggest fan. He's such a mind-blowing actor. And Javed Saab has always told me that Dilip Kumar is mind-blowing. I always used to argue with him, but I realized what a great actor he is. And then, of course, I revisited all of Shyam Benegal films, Syed Mirza's films, and I think Shyam Benegal to me has been, it's almost like somebody is hitting me bang in the face. It's that powerful, that wonderful. A man who has made this kind of cinema so many years back, and we seem so regressive today. When we talk of progressive cinema, what we're making is far behind what he's already made and gone on terms of feminism, in terms of women empowerment, in terms of the bold topics, in terms of adultery, in terms of relationships, the things that he has done. We're all doing some, really basic stuff compared to the topics that he has. And I think we truly, as a film thought, in terms of film thought, we haven't really progressed. We've actually regressed a bit after seeing his films. And also Syed Mirza. I saw like a film called Naseem. I think it's one of the most beautiful films made. I think what a beautiful film to make. So these are things that I've seen a lot of the series that are going around. I've seen many series.
So I think one thing I like a lot about Shyam sir is there's so much research that goes into every bit of work that he does. Whether it's his television series or whether it's his films, it seems like it's super researched and he's got all the facts right, especially when he's working on historical characters. There's there's a lot that he does, which is
Yeah, it's a strange kind of thing because the films I saw from Ankur, Nishan, Bhumika
yes.
to Mandi and Mamo, it's just outstanding. The simplicity and just such beautiful
I
characters.
still remember Mandi got released when I was very young, and Shabana ji saying that she had actually been told by Sham sir that she has to visit a prostitution center and literally stay there for some time, watch them, and she said, and that is of course the kind of actor that she is also. But she spent a lot of time there, and I think somebody like Sham sir would encourage that. He would uh, support that. Unlike some of the other kind of directors that we see in commercial cinema, who are more spontaneous and belong to that school of spontaneity. Of course, Shyam sir comes from that old film divide of art and commercial cinema. You remember that? Yeah, Himanshu.
if I may say, so
Yeah.
did you see Suraj ka Satwa Ghoda by any chance,
No,
sir?
that is the only thing that is left that I will finish off the Shyam Benegal series.
Oh my God, that is
that's
most
supposed to be
amazing
really
screenplay.
beautiful.
Yeah, it's the most incredible screenplay work.
That's the thing that I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Yes,
I've
it's very
seen
nice.
a lot of the other. I've seen most of the others, but I've not seen that.
Yes,
Sir,
that was
I
awesome.
wanted to ask something. You have been in the ad world for past quite some time. For many years, you spent in ad world. And in ad world, you have to convey a story in 30 seconds or max 60 seconds, entire story. And now when you started making films, you had 2 hours or 3 hours. So how was this transition, a creative transition? Were you finding it difficult or you were finding it much more space uh, than you required to convey your story?
You know, it's strange actually. I discovered even as a viewer and a consumer, when you see an ad, you know, we have different ways of processing stories in different mediums. When you see an ad, sometimes a story, even if it stretches by 5 more seconds, can look very, very slow, can look a little dragging. Can you imagine 5 seconds be dragging? But sometimes sometimes the film can be too fast, even in 2 hours. The way it's cut. So the language of processing things are very, very different between a web series, a feature film, and an ad film. You know, I think there are three different ways of processing. When you see a web series, when you're on the OTT platform, I think a lot of times your mind is tuned towards the web series kind of attention span or expectation of excitement or twist and everything at that point of time. When you see a film, um, sometimes the film seems too fast, sometimes the film seems incomplete, or sometimes the film seems not fully fleshed out, because most of the series have lots of time to flesh out all the characters, and like it's like a full thali all around. You see so many kind of layers. Sometimes the film feels a little bit shallow.
Are you, sir? Are you tempted to do a web series or do something different in the storytelling arena?
I think it just requires a great idea. I think to invest a year or something like that in a series, and series is all about the writing, and a lot of the series is about the writing. And to have the discipline to write something, I need a damn good idea. Otherwise, I don't think I'll invest that time in it. I might as well watch things. There are some fantastic things being made. I might as well watch it.
Sir,
Web series, the OTT platform has shown some of the best writing. I think all across the world that's quite visible. And I wish we had some of that writing in cinema.
Yes,
so it is
definitely.
said that web series will be a doom for star system. A star system will end, and only content-oriented subjects will work on digital. And then, so what is your take on this?
I think that's not true. I think when you have great content, it'll always work. Um, Stars have a great value because I think a lot of cinema in India has survived because of the stars. It's not that it will not work, and I hope they continue working. It's going to be fantastic if the content with the stars also kind of go up. We have a strange kind of a thing of stars saying, no, I need to appeal to a lot more people. Therefore, everybody's trying to understand the kind of film that I must do so that I must reach a maximum number of people. And there you have the OTT platforms coming and really experimenting with content and finding it's reaching a lot of people. And I don't know whether it's because today everybody has got nothing to do but to watch a lot of things, or is it because people are genuinely liking a lot of things? I really don't know the data behind that stuff, so I can't really say. But I don't think, no. I think we need stars. We definitely need stars for the excitement and the magic of cinema. We need stars.
So just day before yesterday, it has been announced that theaters will reopen, the cinema halls, multiplexes will start reopening. So people have taken it as a very good news for our industry, film industry. How do you think, what is your take, opinion? Because it's also difficult times, pandemic times.
Yeah, I think what's going to be exciting is where are the films that are going to become? We've got to start making the films for them to come into the theaters fast. And I think already our number of screens that we have in India are quite less. Where is the recovery model in 50% occupancy? And I'm sure it's a temporary thing for the next 2-3 months. I'm sure we're all waiting for it to be 100% occupancy very, very soon. It's difficult to make a film that recovers its money even with 100%, and 100%. What do you say? Capacity, which is allowed, 100% allowed capacity. So with 50% allowed capacity, and with the fear that people have today, it's going to take a risk to kind of release it. It's going to be taking a big risk to release a film in a theater.
Sir, this platform I have created, Indus Valley, to help filmmakers, creative professionals from across South Asia to connect, collaborate, network, plan co-productions, joint productions, and present South Asian cinema as a unified industry to the world, so that filmmakers get access to wider market. So I'm talking about all South Asian countries, because there is a cultural, historical legacy. So what is your opinion about this platform and what we are doing?
I think it's a fantastic thing what you're doing. South Asian cinema can be a great force, because I think from every country, I think from Sri Lanka to Pakistan to Bangladesh to everywhere, they're all producing some really gems, actually, if you see a lot. And I feel actually India also cannot be seen as one film industry. India is not one film industry.
Right.
The Hindi film industry is actually one of the smaller film industry compared to the Telugu film industry, or the Tamil film industry, or the Malayalam film industry. And I think we should actually look at South Asian cinema as not Indian cinema and Sri Lankan cinema and Pakistani cinema,
Right.
but I think you should look at it as, let's say, for example, Assamese cinema, for example, as Bengali cinema, and Malayalam cinema, for example, I think is world-class stuff today. I think it's possibly one of the finest, some of the finest films are being created in Malayalam. So I think you should project the facets of Indian cinema, in all its entirety, rather than just Hindi cinema or one kind of a face like that. It would be it's a great force.
It will also help filmmakers to learn from each other's ideas, their creative expertise, talent. They can use each other's talent, and they can also get inspired from each other's stories, the kind of work they are doing.
Absolutely. And also it will help people also understand, everybody wants to come to Bollywood. Even from the other countries, they want to tie up with people in Bollywood. There are a lot more people to tie up than just Bollywood. There are people right in the South. There are people everywhere. There are fantastic filmmakers, and a lot of them better than those in Bollywood and other places, who can kind of you can collaborate. Producers who are a lot more film savvy in other parts of the country. So this exposure to each other is going to be magical.
I want to ask you something, since it's Gandhi Jayanti today, when Richard Attenborough made Gandhi, this was way back in the 80s, then there was so much talk and debate about, why did a Britisher make some film on an Indian historical figure? And we said at that time that we didn't have those kind of budgets, we didn't have that kind of production capacity and so on. Do you think we've reached that space now to be able to create something mega like Gandhi was, and maybe even bigger? And if you had to pick a historical figure, whom would you like to pick?
So pick a historical figure. It's a tough question, but I don't know. I think I don't think they've left anybody. They've kind of picked everybody. Actually, I'm just trying to think of who they've left. I think Gorbachev is somebody they've not kind of got really fully correctly. I think because he's a wonderful character, because he actually changed the world. What he did actually changed the world quite a bit. Yeah, but otherwise,
so the Cold War, the global warming, as they called it at that time, which destroyed the Cold War between the US and the two poles, right? So, definitely Gorbachev. And if you would think of an Indian leader?
Need not be
political, could be anybody else?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've never thought of it. I don't know. The strange way. I must think of it. But if you want me to tell me one character that I think is iconic and I'd like to surely make a film on him is Raja. I think
Of course.
I would love
There's
to
no
make
conversation with you which can get completed without mention of. So tell us about that. What would you like to cover in that film? What would
I
you
don't
like
know.
to
I
what would
just
you
said
like
it
to
like
portray? What would you like to tell the people about him?
no. I just like to play all his songs for 3 hours and that's it. I mean, I just think that's his genius. I don't think there's been a greater music director in this entire country. Neither will there be. Neither has there been. I think he's so iconic and so brilliant. His melodies will stay on for life, and I think he created new things. He was an original. He created a new sound. He created new melodies, and he created so many new melodies and so different. You'll not get that. Nobody will ever match that again. So that's another day, another story. It's something very close to me.
So I have a question for you, sir. If you can just after doing Padman, which is a very it's this social reform, and there is a lot of it's a very interesting film from its form, its conception, its theme. Did the industry typecast you? If it did, are you trying to break out of it? How do you go ahead from here? I mean, what does it do to you after having done such an interesting film like Padman? How do you see yourself going ahead?
The industry cannot typecast a filmmaker. I mean, I just think it's a filmmaker who can typecast himself. I just think I don't want to do another social film, or I don't want to do. Even when we wrote Mission Mangal, I wrote it for my colleague Jagan, who had this idea about doing a film on the Mars mission. If we fictionalized, that was just for him. No, I wouldn't do. I would do a completely fictional film, and I like doing only fictional films actually. So yeah, the only thing I want to be typecast as is actually make original films. I like to make films
as a versatile filmmaker to make versatile different films.
Not versatile. I don't worry about versatility. I just worry about originality, and I want to give back something rather than keep borrowing. See, I hesitate a lot to base something on a book, or to base something on a short story, or base something on a real life incident or a real life person, because you've seen that already in that life of that person. So as a creator, I feel that I can't keep borrowing from life. I need to give back to life. And the only way for me to give back to life is to write something new, is write a new story or an original story. It's not that the other won't make great cinema. Of course it will make great cinema. It depends on the way each person looks at cinema. My trip of cinema is to kind of create an original thought. That's why I hesitated a lot, even doing Arunachalam Muruganandam's story, because it's his life. But the life was, for me, what really pushed me to it was the fact that great life, fantastic life, but hey, Sanitary Pad is the hero of the film with Akshay Kumar. It's co-starring Sanitary Pad and Akshay Kumar. What an interesting kind of a thing. And that was the kick for me to kind of do that film. But for me, it's always an original thought. I would like to be known as good or bad. At least it was original. At least it was something that hadn't been attempted before, as a thought, as a story, as a technique, something which hadn't been attempted before. So I'd like that, even to begin a film, I want it to be original. I want it to be, hey, has something like this been done before? Not done before. If it hasn't, it's worth spending this time.
Sir, PC Sriram is a well-known cinematographer, and he has been cinematographer in all of your films, Mr. PC Sriram. So what is the special creative bond both of you share?
I think we've both been mad people for a long time. We've known each other much before, during advertising. I mean, he's been the cinematographer along with Jayendra, who did a lot of bad films. But beyond that, I think most importantly, he's the best cinematographer in this country. I mean, I can't even say one of the, there are great cinematographers, but to me, even if you ask the great cinematographer, they'll tell you PC Sriram. Not because other people have not done greater work, but he has, again, created something new. He has experimented with things. He has brought a new language to cinematography. And I think that is lovely for somebody to create something new. And he tries that in every film. He tries to do something which is unique, which kind of pushes the boundaries of something. But he where he gives back something to the world of cinematography, a technique, a lighting, a thought, or something like that. That's what I really love about him, and both our instinctive understanding is that.
It's so nice to hear you speak, because when you speak, you make script writing sound so easy. It's so easy. I just wrote this film, then I wrote that film, then I wrote this film. So I'm very curious to know, how long did you take to write the script of Padman or of Mission Mangal?
Padman was about 1.5 months. The first draft, yeah. Afterwards, you keep tweaking lines here, there. Mission Mangal was a little longer, was about 2.5 months, because there was so much of the information and thing which had to be. But yeah, basic thing is about 2 months average.
So share a little more with us. Like, it calls for a lot of discipline. You set 3 hours in the day when you will sit and write, or the whole day you just keep writing, or you lock yourself in the room. What do you do?
No. This is a very simple thing. And in fact, Padman, I remember me, Swanand, we all went. In fact, we went first. I wanted to see the location. Where will we set this film? So we went to Maheshwar and actually sat in a restaurant, in a resort there, and started writing this film for 10 days. And then we came to the office and we finished it off. So I like to type my own scripts. I like to write when I like to type. And my writing team, I like them to be with me. There'll always be 1 or 2 people maximum who will brainstorm, who will co-write with me. But I want to be the typist. I always type my own, because that's when my thought comes. My thought doesn't come when I'm sitting across and just faffing when I'm typing. So I have a very simple way to write. That's the only film I think I've gone out to write because of the beauty of the location. Most of the other things I've written in the office, sitting, or in my home. I have a very simple way. You start at 12, you do it like a daily day job. It's not like I look at the morning sun and I'm inspired, or I write late at night. No, I work like a bank clerk. I kind of work from 11 o'clock or 11:30, and I go until 6 o'clock, and I wind up and I go. I don't work on Sundays, and I come back and start working on Saturday.
Wow.
And I do it exactly like that, like a simple job, because it's a job. You cannot faff and you cannot say inspiration, because I think if it doesn't come while you're writing in the flow, the inspiration comes. It's not like all thought through and you're just putting words and you're just typing it in. No, when you're typing something in, you're getting thought. You're getting thoughts, and that's all a script is. Even if you live twice over and you say, "Hey, could I have done something better?" I don't know, because that's all that's what was possible at that point in time. That was the inspiration I had, and it could have been something else another day, but that's what I had at that particular time. So it flows, and the only discipline that you need is, you need to come back to it if you're not happy with it. If you're not happy with a page, and I write with dialogues. I do not understand the meaning of writing screenplay without dialogues. So when people ask me who wrote the screenplay and who wrote the story and who wrote the dialogues, I look at them in shock, because only in this country we separate dialogues from screenplay. So when I write with dialogues and I go back and I'm not happy, I cannot move to the next page till I've got that absolutely right. So maybe when I come back after the end of the script and I may find the page again wrong, but at least at that point of time, I need to find that page absolutely fine for me to go on to the next one, the next day. Otherwise, I keep going back. So I think it's a discipline. It's actually great discipline, and just being there. It's about being there for 5 hours, being there for 6 hours, being with the film, being with your thought for 5-6 hours.
Right.
And that's the discipline.
Perfect. Very nicely said.
Sir, what kind do you like reading books? And if yes, what kind of books you read?
Oh, I love reading. I like nowadays I read everything on the Kindle, or hear most of it on Audible. Like I just finished the book by Woody Allen of his latest one called Apropos of Nothing. It's fabulous. I read this. I've just been hearing a lot of Stephen Fry right now. I finished reading a lot of Alain de Botton's books, and I read a lot of besides the Jeffrey Archers, besides all the other fiction stuff, I read a lot of other stuff. I read. I really am a fan of Alain de Botton. And I got onto Audible. Anything that Stephen Fry narrates, I love. In fact, I want to just go and listen to Harry Potter all over again in his voice on Audible. So, and yeah, that's what I don't. haven't actually physically held a book for some time, ever since this the Kindle has happened or the Audible has happened.
Uh, Sir, as a filmmaker, when you make a film, uh, do you prefer to organize workshops and rehearsal for your actors so that they are fully prepared before they go on a set? Or you believe in spontaneity and so that the actors come on the set and they give their first best performance?
No, I think spontaneity can take preparation a step further. It can't kind of come on everything on the set. No, it won't be. You have to have a lot of narrations with your actors. You have a lot of chats. I don't believe in fully rehearsed workshops, but I believe in a lot of interaction, a lot of sitting down, chatting with the person, a lot of narrations, a lot of readings. Yes, I do. Over and above that, you can kind of, once you are into character, once you understand the entire story, because most actors are doing many, many things besides your film. So therefore, I feel that when they get a fair idea of the character, and you're just, then you can hope for spontaneity, because you're all in the zone in your film at the shoot. That's the time you will hope for spontaneity after getting the basics absolutely in their heads.
So, we always say this, we can't let a successful man go without talking about the woman behind that success. So I'm very curious to know, I mean, Gauri's films have also been phenomenal successes and very much stories about the common person and very endearing. What is it that you and Gauri ever argue about? Or disagree? Disagree,
That's
that's the word.
no, that's the wrong question. I think you must ask what are the things that we don't disagree about. That'd be a shorter answer. We don't disagree about our cat. We both love our cat. Actually, we agree a lot on films mostly. We more or less like the similar kind of film. I like a lot more. I like all kinds of films. Like, I watch a lot of masala Telugu films at times. Sometimes she just some things that she doesn't like sometimes. But otherwise, most of the films we like together. Like I keep telling her, the one thing about Gauri is I'm really proud is I always say there are 4 or 5 films that I wish I'd really made, or I feel are iconic in life. And I say one is always my favorite, which is Moonrampirai, which is the original of Sadma in Tamil. I say Lagan, I say Satya, and I say English always, because I feel they are classic films. They are like, these are the classic themes of humanity that, and classic, what do you say, themes, like not knowing English is a classic theme. Cricket is a classic theme. Underdog in cricket is a classic theme.
Yeah.
Underworld Satya is a classic, first time, and is a classic film. Again, love story where you don't, where you really, where you, which makes pain so aspirational, is a classic. Like Mundaram Pirai. So I feel that these are all landmarks, and I'm really proud to be married to a woman who's kind of done possibly one of the most iconic films in this country.
Yeah, and I want to ask you, so English is like something we see every day around us, right? Why didn't anybody think of it? Did it take a woman director to think about this as an issue that she needed to bring this up?
I don't know what's just as a person. I feel that her mom wasn't kind of very fluent in English, and that triggered off a thought. But it's not about a woman director or something. I don't think she ever looks at herself as just a woman director. I just feel there's a certain sensitivity with a problem when you associate a certain sensitivity to the problem. You get the topic. You're more interested in that topic. That topic comes out of you far more naturally. So I think that particular.
They say privilege is invisible to those who have it. And that's why I'm asking this question. Now we have many more women directors coming in, and much more focus on issues around women, looking at things from the perspective of a woman, which maybe a man could not see. Not that he did not want to see, but maybe he just could not see that. Do you think that's happening, or maybe it's just one way of looking at it?
I really don't know the answer to this because I've never looked at. I think we're all different people. Even two men are very different from each other. Each one looks at it from either his background or his kind of upbringing or his kind of genetic makeup in some way. And so is every woman very different from the other woman. So I don't think this broad generalization of how a woman looks at it and a man looks at it, or how a certain person looks at it. Like she may look at it very differently from what a Zoya would look at it, or I may look at things very differently from what Raju would look at, or somebody else would look at it, or a Vishal would look at it. I don't know. I just feel it's not about like even this particular topic. It's sometimes I may look at it more in a feminine way than Gauri would, and Gauri would look at it maybe in a masculine way, or sometimes the other way around. So each one is about a person. I never have understood this key and car business. You know, this this entire gender business. I just think it's about different people.
Sir,
And
I want to say
you
something.
cannot broadly kind of categorize it as male and female like that. No, you can't.
Okay.
Sir, Dear Zindagi has been a class. It has been a class film, Dear Zindagi, a cult class. So nowadays, when we are talking about mental health, depression, we talked about mental health and depression years ago, few years ago, and it also showed us the path how to deal with it.
The unfortunate part of it is we still haven't learned it. We're still kind of tarnishing this as a society. We're making mockery out of somebody. If you just look at what's happening, we're making mockery of somebody who was mentally unwell. And it's like there is no sensitivity shown. People don't even understand what they're talking about. So it's strange. We have a long way to go. We need a lot more films like that.
If I may ask, sir, so does Gauri read your scripts? So you read her scripts? Do you guys, is she your first person that you go to after the script? How do you guys collaborate on that? I mean, as partners, not as different filmmakers. How does that go?
Yeah, we do read each other's script, and we do tell each other, but we never follow each other's advice.
Yeah, I don't want to take that.
Yeah, maybe we should have Gauri here also, and then it will be
You
fair
should.
to ask the question.
But I'm being absolutely honest. I'm saying that what applies to me applies to her. What applies to her applies to me, because I think we're both a little rebellious at heart, and so it's that's the way it goes.
That's awesome, sir.
Sir, today we are showing your film coming back to Padman because we just have to, we have 5 minutes left. So
Okay,
we are
lovely.
showing Padman, and Padman has been inspired from the life of Arunachalam. Where you had found any embarrassment among actors initially to take up the characters, to get into the characters?
Not at all. Not at all. I remember Akshay, he told me when he was to wear the pad, you know, he just felt, I mean, we had read that scene so many times, the actor out scene, but the actual moment when the pad was being just worn, of course, we recreated everything else. He said, I didn't know what a feeling. I can't even explain that feeling. It was like psyching. It was almost like I am wearing a pad. You know, you don't even know whether you're uncomfortable, scared, what it is, but it's like a thing that you would never do as a man. Kind of a feeling comes into you, and it's a very beautiful feeling. Something that I will never maybe ever do again in my life, but I'm doing it for once, even as an actor. So I remember him telling me about that. He said, that really shook me. He said, it was a beautiful moment. It didn't disturb me, but it shook me because I'm doing something really, really once in a lifetime kind of a thing, like on myself. So you can summarize the entire attitude on that one scene, because if a man can wear a pad, I don't think he was even, no actor in that film was hesitant about anything. Actually, in fact, we shot in Maheshwar, which is actually a very temple town, and Narmada flows by. It's one of the most purest places, and we shot that whole scene of him jumping into the stuff with his sanitary pad leaking, and him climbing the steps. You would be surprised. There were so many religious people, the heads of the villages, everybody else. They all knew what we were doing. They all knew the story, and they all supported it like crazy. They all actually said, no, this is a cause worth kind of doing it. This is not about all those blind beliefs. This will not dirty the river. This will not do all those kind of stuff. We would like, it's great to hear that from people you think are going to say, oh, how can you do this? How can you do this particular thing? You really underestimate people. You underestimate small towns and the other part of India that you always assume was something else. So that was a great learning for us. Forget the actors. I think even the people watching the shoot were, even the location people there were tremendously supportive of this film.
And how about Radhika Apte? How did she react initially?
She said, Balki, you asked me to play a character exactly the opposite of what I am. I said, yeah. I'm not shy. I'm not this. I'm not this kind of thing. Absolutely that. I said, what's the point in you playing yourself? I mean, let's play something you really are not.
Right.
Sir, this is the time to start the film. But before we start, if you can just introduce the film in one or two sentences, if you can give an introduction of the film, then we will start.
I think Sanitary Pads have never been a more beautiful love story. I think please watch it. It's dedicated to Arunachalam Muruganandam and all the men who are doing wonderful things for women all over the world.
Fabulous, sir.
Thanks a lot for
Thank
joining
you so much,
us.
sir.
Pleasure. My pleasure.
Thanks for your
See
words,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Have been an enjoying
See you, Ash.
interaction.
Thank you.
We all enjoyed a lot.
Thank you. Thank you, Ash. Bye.